These animals showed no mercy, not even to their own owners. In this video, you will witness a shocking sequence of brutal attacks, where once trusted animals turned against those who cared for them in cold blood. These terrifying incidents will leave you speechless. Watch now and see for yourself. In this photo, Terry Vance Garner is shown caring for his pigs on his farm in Riverton, Oregon. However, on September 26, 2012, the experienced farmer met a tragic end. After being missing for a day, family members discovered his partially consumed body in the pig enclosure. It is suspected that Garner may have suffered a heart attack or been knocked over by one of the pigs, which weighed nearly 1,500 pounds, before being attacked and devoured by the hungry animals. Later investigations suggested that, without sufficient food, the pigs may have reverted to primal instincts, though such behavior is considered rare among modern domestic pigs. Norman Buwalda, president of the Canadian Exotic Animal Owners Association, was known for his passion for big cats, keeping tigers and other wild animals on his property in Southwold, Ontario. Despite constant complaints from neighbors about the risks, Norman believed he had full control over the animals he kept. However, on a routine maintenance day, when entering the enclosure of a large Siberian tiger, his confidence in his relationship with the feline proved fatal. The tiger brutally attacked Norman, killing him on the spot and consuming parts of his body before the incident was discovered. The tragedy left an indelible mark both on the local community and on the debate about human coexistence with predators of such strength and natural instinct. Ronald Huff, a reptile enthusiast from Delaware, came up with the idea of keeping 7 monitor lizards as pets, despite the concerns expressed by friends and family about his safety. In 2002, after several days without contact, the police were called to check his residence and encountered a horrifying scene. Huff was found dead on the floor, and his lizards were feeding on his body. The exact cause of death was never determined, but it is believed he suffered a sudden medical issue. The monitor lizards, carnivorous reptiles known for their strength, sharp claws, and aggressive behavior, had been pushed to their limits by hunger, mistaking their owner for prey. These animals, which can grow up to 8 feet in length, exemplify how keeping exotic pets can be a dangerous and even deadly endeavor. Marius Els, a 41-year-old South African farmer, raised Humphrey, a hippopotamus he considered part of his family. Treated like a son, the animal was rescued as a calf and grew up under Marius's care, who even built a lake on his property specifically for Humphrey. Ignoring warnings about the deadly nature of hippos, known as one of Africa's most lethal animals, Marius often swam alongside Humphrey, describing him as a loyal dog and claiming they shared a special bond. However, this blind trust led to a tragic end in November 2011. While checking on the hippo, Marius was attacked and found lifeless near the river, with deep wounds inflicted by Humphrey's powerful jaws. Although the animal only partially consumed his owner, the injuries proved fatal, and Marius succumbed shortly after the attack. Desi Tuwo, head of a pearl laboratory in Indonesia, met a tragic end in January 2019. Illegally keeping Mary, a crocodile, as a pet, Desi fell into the predator's enclosure while performing daily tasks. The massive crocodile attacked her, consuming one of her hands and a significant portion of her abdomen, leaving a horrifying scene. The removal of Mary required a complex operation involving police, military, and wildlife experts. It took over 3 hours to safely capture the crocodile, which was transported to an animal rescue center. Tragically, Desi succumbed to her injuries within minutes of the attack. This pet monkey attacked 72-year-old Nga Muhammad in Malaysia in 2019. The routine was typically peaceful, and the elderly man shared a special bond with his pet monkey, which he trained to collect coconuts on his property. However, one day, the animal unexpectedly turned aggressive and attacked Nga during a training session, biting his arm with enough force to sever an artery. Already frail with age, Nga could not stop the bleeding and was found unconscious by his son, Mohd Zakaria. While attempting to assist his father, Mohd was also attacked but managed to escape and seek help. The incident mobilized neighbors and authorities, who carefully captured the aggressive monkey after a community-wide effort. Initially considering rehabilitation, the authorities ultimately decided to euthanize the animal due to its unpredictable nature. Marvin Hajos, an experienced exotic bird breeder, met a tragic fate in 2019 on his property in Alachua County, Florida. While feeding his cassowaries, he stumbled and fell, startling one of the birds, known as the most dangerous in the world. The animal, equipped with dagger-like claws, attacked swiftly, inflicting severe injuries. Despite managing to call emergency services, Marvin succumbed to his wounds before help could arrive. The cassowary attack shocked both the local community and the global exotic animal breeding world. Capable of running at 30 miles per hour and equipped with powerful legs that act as lethal weapons, cassowaries are a stark reminder of how natural instincts can quickly escalate into deadly attacks. Sandra Piovesan, known for her dedication to the 9 wolf dogs she raised in her backyard, regarded her animals as her children and claimed they gave her unconditional love. However, in 2006, this coexistence ended in tragedy. After missing a meeting with her daughter, Sandra was found dead on her property. She had been attacked by the hybrids, who dragged and partially consumed her body, leaving a devastating scene. The incident shocked the community, which had viewed Sandra as a devoted caretaker of the fierce hybrids. Following the attack, all 9 wolf dogs were euthanized. Michal Prusek, a lion enthusiast, kept a male and a female lion on his property in Zadychov, Czech Republic, with the ambitious dream of breeding them. Despite repeated warnings about the dangers of raising wild animals, he remained confident in his relationship with the big cats. However, in 2019, this dream ended in tragedy. Michal was found dead inside the enclosure, attacked and partially devoured by one of his lions. Police, called to the scene, faced significant risks upon entering the property. Due to the threat posed by the lions, both animals were euthanized, including the pregnant female. Daniel Brandon, a reptile enthusiast from Hampshire, England, was found dead in 2018 at his own home, the victim of an attack by his African python, Tiny. The snake, measuring nearly 8 feet in length, was treated by Daniel as a baby and was considered his favorite among the 10 reptiles and 12 tarantulas he kept. However, one day his passion for wildlife turned fatal when Tiny constricted him to death and partially consumed him. Daniel had underestimated the strength and instincts of such a powerful predator. Following the incident, experts emphasized the need for stricter regulations on the ownership of dangerous reptiles, highlighting that no matter how attached they may seem, natural survival and hunting instincts can emerge at any time with deadly consequences. Cynthia Lee Gamble, a renowned wildlife documentarian, fell victim to tragedy in 2007 when she was attacked by her pet Bengal tiger. Known for her passion and extensive experience with big cats, Cynthia placed excessive trust in the bond she believed she had formed with her tiger after years of cohabitation. Unexpectedly, a fatal error occurred when she accidentally left the cage door open. The tiger, driven by its predatory instincts, attacked Cynthia, inflicting severe injuries and consuming part of her body before being contained. The incident highlighted that no matter the level of trust or connection, the natural instincts of such animals can surface unpredictably, and this must always be taken into consideration. Still in this video, you will see the shocking attack of an orca on its trainer at SeaWorld. Kellyanne Waltz, an exotic animal enthusiast, raised a 330-pound black bear as part of her family in 2009. Despite warnings from neighbors about the risks, Kelly believed she had tamed the animal, keeping it in a cage behind her house. Tragically, on a routine day of feeding and cleaning, something went wrong, and the bear, without apparent provocation, attacked her violently, consuming parts of her body as she tried to escape. The horrifying scene shocked the neighborhood, with witnesses rushing to help. A neighbor managed to intervene and fatally shot the bear, but it was too late for Kelly. As the community grappled with the tragedy, the case reignited debates about the legality and dangers of keeping such unpredictable creatures in captivity, especially wild animals of this nature. Travis, a chimpanzee treated like family by Sandra Harold, was a well-known figure in his Connecticut neighborhood, even starring in television commercials. Raised since infancy, he became Sandra's inseparable companion after her husband's death. However, in 2009, the bond took a tragic turn. While medicating Travis for Lyme disease, Sandra asked her friend Charla Nash for help, bringing along his favorite toy to calm him. Things worsened when Charla's presence seemed to agitate Travis, leading to a violent attack. The chimpanzee bit her hands and mutilated her face, causing devastating injuries. Sandra tried to intervene in desperation, but Travis remained uncontrollable. Police arrived and had to fatally shoot Travis to stop the chaos. Charla underwent extensive surgeries, including a face transplant. The shocking incident reignited national debates about the risks of keeping wild animals as domestic companions. Janet Veal, 56 years old, was found dead in her home in Britain, surrounded by a grim scene. After weeks without being seen, neighbors called the police upon noticing an overflowing mailbox and an abandoned house. Entering through a window, officers discovered a scene of complete neglect, with dead animals scattered on the floor and surviving pets starving. In desperation, some of her cats had consumed parts of Janet's body. Living alone since her separation from her husband, Janet had devoted all her time to her animals, who were her sole companions. Despite the tragic circumstances, the surviving cats were taken to a shelter where they received care and were mostly adopted. Antoine Yates, a New York City taxi driver, secretly raised Ming, a 350-pound hybrid tiger, in his Harlem apartment in 2003. The secret came to light after Antoine was hospitalized with severe arm injuries, claiming they were caused by a Pitbull attack. Suspicious of the size of the bite marks, doctors alerted authorities, who received an anonymous tip and decided to investigate Yates's small apartment. The rescue operation was dramatic, with police finding Ming agitated, pacing the apartment and roaring. With the help of a specialized team, the tiger was safely tranquilized and removed. Subsequent reports revealed the animal had already consumed remnants of small animals kept by Yates. Ming was relocated to a sanctuary in Ohio, where he lived in an environment more suited to his size and nature. Stephen Miller, an experienced animal trainer, met a tragic end in April 2008 when he was attacked by Rocky, a 5-year-old bear he had raised and trained. During the filming of a promotional video, the bear suddenly grabbed Miller by the neck and shook him violently without warning. Despite attempts to stop the bear, the attack proved fatal, leaving everyone present in shock. Rocky, who was considered docile and well-trained, had frequently appeared in commercials and demonstrated impressive skills. However, the incident highlighted the unpredictable nature of wild animals, even under human control. The tragedy sparked debates about the safety of handling large predators in entertainment productions such as circuses and movies. Philemon Mulala, a former player for the Zambian national soccer team, faced a brutal end at his home in South Africa, attacked by his 3 dogs, including 2 crossbred pit bulls. The sudden and violent attack resulted in his death, with the dogs devouring parts of his body before the tragedy was discovered. Philemon was known for treating the dogs as members of his family, never imagining they would turn on him in such a ferocious manner. Sergei Grigoriev, a Russian hunter, found a lost bear cub and, moved by compassion, decided to raise it as a pet. Nicknamed Vorchun, the bear grew up in captivity, kept in a cage on Sergei's property. Tragedy struck in 2018 when this arrangement took a fatal turn. Vorchun escaped his enclosure, attacked and killed a dog, and then turned on Sergei, brutally attacking and devouring him. When police arrived at the scene, they found traces of blood, human remains, and an extremely aggressive bear. To prevent further attacks, Vorchun was euthanized. Shiana Hare, a young child, met a tragic end when she was attacked by a 12-foot Burmese python that escaped its enclosure while she slept in her crib. The incident, which occurred in July 2009 in Sumter County, Florida, revealed that the reptile, illegally kept by Charles Darnell, had not been fed for a month. The tragedy highlighted severe negligence, as the snake was also kept in inadequate captivity conditions. Following the incident, Darnell and the child's mother were sentenced to 12 years in prison for child neglect and illegal possession of the reptile. The python was later used in animal control training, serving as a cautionary example of the dangers and responsibilities associated with keeping giant predators in domestic and urban settings. Freddie Mac, aged 57, was reported missing after his family presented a puzzling case to the police. During the investigation in 2019, police officers faced difficulties entering the residence due to the aggressive behavior of the 18 dogs he raised. A forensic analysis later revealed hair, human bones, and pieces of clothing in the animal's feces, confirming that Freddie had been completely devoured by his own dogs. Although it is unclear whether Mac was attacked by the dogs or consumed after his death, Sheriff Aaron Pitts stated that the man's entire body had been eaten. Following the incident, 2 dogs were killed by their packmates, 13 were euthanized due to aggression, and 3 were put up for adoption. Timothy Treadwell, known as the Bear Man, spent 13 summers living among grizzly bears in Katmai National Park, Alaska, convinced he had formed a special bond with these wild animals. In 2003, he returned to the park with his girlfriend, Amy Hugard, ignoring warnings that the bears had become more aggressive due to a lack of food before hibernation. They camped near a trail frequented by bears, disregarding any potential dangers. One night, as Treadwell adjusted his camera, a bear entered the campsite. Starving, the animal brutally attacked the couple, and Treadwell tried to protect Amy, but both were killed by the bear's overwhelming strength. The next day, Willie Fulton, a bush pilot, discovered the destroyed campsite and the remains of the couple. The bear responsible was still nearby and had to be killed to prevent further attacks. James Little, 61 years old, experienced a rather peculiar incident in Roseburg, Oregon. While he was asleep, his Shiba Inu bit and removed 3 of his toes. The dog, it appears, acted instinctively by identifying compromised tissue caused by his owner's diabetes. James woke up to the injury and, despite the shock, managed to call emergency services for immediate medical help, surprisingly stating that he was fine. Later, authorities investigating the case concluded that the dog's behavior was driven by an attempt to remove the diseased tissue rather than aggression. As a result, the animal was not euthanized and remained with James even after the incident. The case drew attention to the dog's acute ability to detect necrotic tissue caused by his owner's diabetes. Mark Vogel, an insect enthusiast from Dortmund, Germany, kept over 200 exotic creatures in his apartment, including snakes, scorpions, and a black widow spider, infamous for its deadly venom. In 2004, his passion for dangerous animals ended in tragedy. While handling the black widow, Mark was bitten but underestimated the severity of the incident, believing he could manage the effects. The venom spread rapidly, paralyzing him and leading to his death within hours. With no one to help him, Mark died alone in his apartment, where his starving animals began feeding on his body. Months later, the unbearable smell prompted neighbors to call the police, who discovered his corpse covered in spider webs and surrounded by ravenous creatures. Mario Paravoitos, a 41-year-old man, suffered a fatal attack by his Staffordshire Bull Terrier named Major in London in 2017. The incident occurred during the filming of a BBC documentary about drug use. Mario had a seizure, triggering the dog's brutal attack as the animal seized the moment to lash out. Producer Joshua Haddo made desperate attempts to restrain the dog but was unable to prevent Mario from having his larynx crushed. He succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Subsequent investigations revealed high levels of cocaine and morphine in Major's system, indicating the dog had been forcefully exposed to drugs. Veterinarian Nicholas Carmichael stated that the substances could have intensified the dog's aggressive behavior. The tragic case sparked debates about the impact of living conditions on animals and the potential dangers of dogs exposed to high-risk environments, including interactions with toxic substances and unstable situations. Ricky Weinhold was fatally attacked by his 1-ton bull on a farm in Wernersville near Philadelphia, where he rented a barn for his cattle in 2010. His body was discovered the following day by the property owner's son. The bull, known for its aggressive behavior, had previously broken several of Weinhold's ribs months earlier. Despite repeated warnings from the property owners to get rid of the animal, Weinhold chose to keep it, treating his livestock as pets. With no witnesses present, the exact circumstances of the attack remain unclear. However, the bull's temperamental history supports the theory of instinctive and dangerous behavior. Ricky, who owned around 10 head of cattle at the farm, was known for his bond with animals, but his tragic death highlighted the unpredictable risks of coexisting with such powerful creatures. Pam Weaver, age 61, received a camel weighing 330 pounds as a birthday gift in 2007, an unusual gesture from her husband. Raised on the family farm in Mitchell, Australia, the animal exhibited unpredictable behavior, having previously attempted to mount other animals, including the family's pet goat. What was seen as peculiar turned fatal. While Pam's daughter prepared dinner, the camel knocked her over in the yard and, in what appeared to be an attempt to mate, crushed her, resulting in her death. The incident left the family in shock, and although the camel was considered part of the farm, its erratic behavior had been overlooked, leading to this tragedy. Experts who later analyzed the case emphasized that even with care, large animals can display uncontrollable instincts. Scarface, a rescued pit bull with a particularly troubled past, was treated as part of the family by Brenda and Ismael Guerrero in Tampa, Florida. However, on New Year's Day of 2017, what seemed like a simple act turned into tragedy. Brenda attempted to dress her dog in a sweater, but Scarface, possibly feeling threatened, violently attacked her. Ismael rushed to her aid and was also attacked. The couple's son, in desperation, tried to intervene with a knife but was unable to stop the animal. Neighbors, alarmed by the screams, called the police. When officers arrived, they found a bloody scene and an uncontrollable dog. Not even a taser was initially enough to subdue Scarface. Moments later, after being tranquilized, the pit bull was deemed too dangerous and was ultimately euthanized. Noah and Connor Barth, 4 and 6 years old, were tragically killed while sleeping at a family friend's apartment in Campbellton, Canada. An African python over 9 feet long, kept in the home, escaped its enclosure and entered the building's ventilation system. In the early morning hours, the snake emerged from the ceiling and fell directly onto the boys, who were sleeping in the living room. The attack was devastating, and both boys were found lifeless the following morning. The shocking incident left the community reeling. The snake, owned by a local merchant, was euthanized by authorities shortly after the attack. Investigations revealed serious safety lapses in the enclosure and containment system, serving as a tragic warning about keeping predators in unsuitable conditions. Ram Verma, an Indian politician who used an elephant as a symbol for his campaigns, met a brutal end in 2003. Known for showcasing the animal at political events, he trusted in the bond he had built with the elephant. During an episode of the animal's agitation, Verma attempted to calm it, but when he struck it with a metal rod, he accidentally hit its ear. Enraged, the elephant reacted violently, knocking Verma down and crushing him to death instantly. After the attack, the elephant ran toward the village, spreading panic among the residents. Determined to contain the animal, the villagers organized a hunt and fired over 200 bullets to kill it. Al Abel, a resident of Illinois, operated a small private zoo where he cared for exotic animals, including Simba, a nearly 400-pound African lion. On a tragic day, Abel forgot to lock Simba's enclosure while cleaning the lion's cage. Hours later, his wife arrived at the property to find the lion roaming freely and other animals agitated, with no sign of a bell nearby, prompting her worst fears. Police were called to the scene and, after a tense standoff, were forced to shoot Simba to prevent further attacks. Tragically, Abel's body was discovered near the lion's cage, with a severe leg wound that caused him to bleed to death, bringing an untimely end to his life. Bethany Lynn Stevens, age 22, was deeply passionate about her 2 dogs, frequently visiting them at the kennel where they were kept isolated at her father's home. In December 2017, during a walk in the woods, this close bond ended tragically. Bethany was violently attacked by her own dogs. The next day, her body was found partially consumed and surrounded by the animals, who seemed to be guarding her remains. The autopsy confirmed that the injuries were consistent with bite marks. Experts believe that prolonged isolation and lack of socialization may have contributed to the dog's aggressive behavior, which had previously been described as docile. The case raised concerns about the risks of keeping large dogs as domestic pets, even when they have shown calm and passive behavior in the past. On a fateful day in 2014, a 2-year-old boy named Wei Cao was tragically attacked and partially devoured by a pig in a rural village in Jiangsu Province, China. The child, who often played in the yard, wandered unsupervised into the pig pen. The sow, likely aggressive while protecting her piglets, attacked the boy violently. His screams alerted his parents, but by the time they arrived, the boy had already succumbed to the attack. Horrified neighbors tied up and killed the pig, opening its stomach to find human remains as evidence for the authorities. The incident shocked the local community and sparked discussions about the precautions necessary when raising animals in domestic settings, particularly in rural areas where proximity to large animals can pose significant dangers. On a fateful day, a man with apparent mental instability climbed into the lion enclosure to challenge them. Witnesses reported that he identified himself as a pastor and intended to convert the felines to Christianity. Before any help could arrive, the lions, angered by the intrusion, charged at him, causing panic among spectators. The moment was recorded on video and quickly went viral on social media. Despite the risky situation, the man survived the attacks, suffering only minor injuries. The lions displayed aggression but did not attack him with full force, allowing him to leave the enclosure without serious harm. Australian diver Kerry Daniel was attacked by a bull shark while spearfishing north of Queensland near the Great Barrier Reef. He was scanning the ocean floor for fish when the predator suddenly lunged at high speed. At the critical moment, his spear was bitten by the shark. The diver managed to escape unharmed, and the incredible footage was recorded on video. The impact was so strong that it ripped the spear from his hand and snapped the line. At first, he waited for the shark to release the weapon, but soon realized that the safest option was to swim away. Luckily, he survived. A climber in Japan had a terrifying encounter when he was attacked by a bear while descending Mount Futago. Footage from his camera captures the moment the animal suddenly appears and charges at him. In shock, the man lets out a scream and, with no other option, starts punching and kicking the bear to fend it off. After several attacks and loud shouts to scare it away, the bear finally retreats. Exhausted and visibly shaken, the climber takes the chance to descend slowly, ensuring the animal does not return. The video went viral, impressing viewers with the man's composure and the intense moment. A 4-year-old boy fell into the gorilla Harambe's enclosure at the Cincinnati Zoo in the United States, sending visitors into panic. The gorilla, a massive silverback male, immediately approached. Amid the crowd's screams, Harambe did not attack. Instead, he touched the boy, and for a few moments seemed to be caring for him. But his size and strength made every movement unpredictable, while the frightened child remained vulnerable to any sudden reaction. The trainers watched tensely, assessing whether an intervention might worsen the situation. Harambe dragged the boy across the ground, an act that, for him, might have been instinctive, but could have seriously injured the child. Considering that any wrong move from the gorilla could be fatal, the team decided to shoot Harambe. The decision sparked worldwide outrage. Many believed he could have been sedated, but there was also the risk of an unpredictable reaction that could have worsened the situation. This animal trainer at the Jamaica Zoo was interacting with a lion through the bars of the cage when he decided to put his finger inside. The animal instinctively bit down and did not let go, resulting in the trainer losing his finger. The incident occurred in May 2022 and was recorded by visitors who were shocked by the scene, as the trainer lost his finger due to such a trivial mistake. An American tourist experienced an unexpected moment when she was thrown by an elephant while washing it in a lake in Thailand. The widely shared video shows the woman mesmerized by the animal. However, when she tried to pet it, the elephant reacted abruptly and, with a sudden movement of its trunk, hurled her into the air, shocking everyone around. Elephants are the largest land animals today, reaching heights of 10 feet and weighing more than 13,000 pounds. Although generally peaceful, they can react aggressively if they feel threatened or disturbed. Despite the scare, the tourist did not suffer serious injuries. A wild boar attack in West Sumatra, Indonesia, left 2 people injured after the animal was forced out of the forest by hunters. Amid the chaos, a middle-aged man attempted to stop the boar, but it violently charged at him, knocking him to the ground. The enraged animal bit him, while stunned residents watched in horror. The boar then turned on another victim before the villagers intervened. Desperate to stop the rampage, the locals grabbed wooden sticks and used traditional knives to subdue the animal. After a fierce struggle, they managed to immobilize it. The incident heightened concerns about the dangers of wild boars, which can become highly aggressive when threatened or forced out of their natural habitat. A tragic incident occurred at the Delhi Zoo when Maksud, a high school student, fell into the enclosure of a white tiger. The young man, a resident of Anand Parbat, slipped and fell inside the enclosure. Witnesses stated that the protective barrier was low and failed to prevent the accident. The tiger slowly approached and, for about 15 minutes, simply observed the victim from just inches away, while the young man, in desperation, clasped his hands together and pleaded for his life. The large feline, irritated, attacked Maksud, severely injuring his neck before dragging him further into the enclosure. According to witnesses, the zoo security guards did not have tranquilizer guns and were unable to intervene. This elk hunter experienced a tense moment when he encountered a mountain lion. The scene captured the moment the predator crept closer, eyes locked onto its target. When the animal launched its first charge, the hunter fired a warning shot with his Glock 27, but the lion was undeterred. It hesitated for a moment, but continued advancing, determined. It was only after a second, closer shot that the predator finally lost its courage and backed away, realizing the pursuit was no longer worth it. The hunter's quick reflexes had saved him from a potentially deadly encounter. While driving through a park in South Africa, this driver had an unexpected encounter with an enraged rhinoceros. The massive animal, apparently disturbed by the presence of the vehicle, fixed its gaze and began to charge. The driver attempted to reverse, but the rhinoceros increased its speed and, within seconds, violently collided with the car. With no other choice, the driver accelerated sharply to escape. The intense moment was fully captured on video and quickly went viral, astonishing viewers with the animal's strength and unpredictability. Tourists at a hotel in Las Vegas were watching a lion exhibition when something terrifying happened. 2 trainers were inside the enclosure near a male lion and a lioness when suddenly the male attacked one of them and knocked him down. The moment of panic was recorded by visitors who were left speechless by the unexpected event. The lion held the trainer on the ground for a few seconds while his colleague tried to distract it, but nothing seemed to work. That was when help came from an unexpected source. The lioness, who had been observing the scene, instinctively bit the lion's tail and positioned herself between him and the trainer. Her intervention was enough to divert the male's attention and give the man a chance to get up and escape. Thanks to the lioness's unexpected action, the trainer managed to leave the enclosure without serious injuries, to the relief of the tourists who witnessed the attack. This Australian diver was attacked by a shark after attempting to hunt it with a spear. The strike was not enough to take it down, and the enraged predator turned on him. In an instant, the hunter became the hunted, and the diver had to flee desperately. He tried to reach a safe place as the shark closed in quickly. Adrenaline surged, and the entire moment was captured on video. Fortunately, he managed to escape unharmed, and the video went viral across the web. In this incident, the audience watched the SeaWorld show in awe, unaware that the event was about to take a terrifying turn. The trainer was swimming alongside the orca, known as Shamu, when she suddenly pulled him underwater. The man struggled to resurface, but the animal's strength kept him submerged. The crowd fell silent as they realized something was wrong. Each time he tried to escape, the orca dragged him down again. Other staff members rushed to help, trying to calm the animal. After moments of intense struggle, he finally broke free and reached the surface. These farmers experienced a moment of terror when they survived an elephant attack in the village of Cassowary, India. In footage recorded by security cameras, the elephant is seen storming into a beetle plantation and charging at the workers. In desperation, they ran toward a nearby house and tried to hide under a parked car. The attack was attributed to an elephant named Crocodile, the same one that had killed a man in January. Lexi Yeo always believed dolphins were gentle and playful creatures until she experienced a terrifying moment. While swimming, a bottlenose dolphin approached her and unexpectedly began to bite her. Before she could react, another joined in the attack. Panicked, she struggled to break free, but the animals were strong and seemed determined to drag her underwater. The fight for survival was intense. Lexi thrashed, trying to keep her head above water to breathe, but the dolphins, weighing about 440 pounds each, were agile and powerful. The friendly image of smiling dolphins vanished in an instant. Luckily, help arrived just in time, saving her from a tragic fate. This man was a horse trainer and was in the middle of a session when, suddenly, the horse had a fit of rage and attacked him. With a powerful movement, the animal knocked him to the ground and bit him. After the attack, the horse stopped, suggesting that harming the trainer was not its true intention, but rather a reaction to stress or discomfort at that moment. Although horses are known for their intelligence and loyalty, they can be unpredictable and even hostile in certain situations. When they feel threatened, pressured, or are in severe pain, their instincts may lead them to react aggressively, making handling them a challenge even for experienced trainers. A gang of monkeys, accustomed to moving in groups across districts in India, frequently attacks civilians walking the streets, stealing food, bags, and even cell phones. Residents are aware of the danger and try to avoid carrying noticeable objects, but escaping these aggressive primates is not always possible. When searching for food or feeling threatened, the monkeys do not hesitate to surround their victims, creating moments of panic. Many shop owners reinforce their stores to prevent invasions, and some areas have reported injuries caused by the attacks. Authorities attempt to control the growing monkey population, which has spread across cities and temples. However, the lack of natural predators and the constant feeding by tourists contribute to the gang's expansion, making the attacks more frequent and increasingly coordinated. In a frozen forest, a group of hunters moved cautiously, unaware of the lurking danger. The silence was shattered by fierce grunts and the sound of breaking branches, signaling an oncoming invasion of wild boars. Suddenly, a horde of them burst through the trees, charging forward like an unstoppable force. Dawn Brancho, an experienced trainer with over 20 years of work with orcas, met a tragic end in February of 2010. During a performance at a marine park, she was interacting with Tilikum, an orca notorious for a history of fatal aggression. In an unexpected moment, Tilikum grabbed her and dragged her to the bottom of the tank. The orca, which had previously been involved in 2 deaths, crushed and devoured Dawn's bones, tore off her arm, and inflicted numerous fatal injuries. Following the incident, Tilikum became a controversial symbol of animal captivity, horrifying those who witnessed the events at the time. The cruelty exhibited toward his longtime trainer shocked the world and reignited debates about the limits and dangers of coexisting with wild animals in captivity.